famously said that one belongs to New York instantly, as much in 5 minutes as in 5 years. Is that then what makes the Big Apple sought after? Or is it, as Truman Capote said, that it's the only real city in the world? It's been sung about, written about, filmed exhaustively, and yet somehow no one has ever done with this overbuilt little island in the heart of New York State. Its beauty lies in its concrete canyons, in the hum of people rushing by. It's that everything seems busier, brighter, better here. It's the whole world packed together, its hopes, its dreams, its hysteria, it's dazzling, it's driven, it's diverse, and it's a city that is always best explored on foot, whether the vistas the High Line offers up or the tourist-soaked fluorescence of Times Square. Things here are made with pedestrians in mind, and there's food to go with it too. Wander around, you'll find something that's strictly gourmet, and that which is definitively not, but no less delicious for it. Take the hot dog, and let's be honest, I'll take a few. It's a New York City staple, a cart on every corner. But I was heading to this. Papaya King, an 80-year-old institution famous enough for Julia Child to give it her stamp of approval, for Tony Bourdain and Martha Stewart too, famous enough to be featured in films and sitcoms. And of course, what it's famous for are dogs and a certain tropical drink. Papaya, for those of you not paying attention. But where to start then?
You should try the home run and side on top.
I suspect we've forgotten something.
And the juice.
And the papaya drink.
With my haul in place, I start. First up, the home run, classic beef frank served with onions and sauerkraut. It was effective, I must confess, but better it could be argued was this, the side on top, large and loaded with cheese and chili and fries on top. What more could I add to that?
That's good hot dog.
I think that covers it. I washed it down with the drink they named for, their papaya juice, and you know what? That's terrific.
I have to say that's cool and surprisingly tasty. And better yet, this might be the one thing that I've chosen that is actually good for me.
The crush inside should be an indication of how well they figured it out. Cheap, cheerful, and they hit it right on the nose. Take my dessert. Yes, that's a deep-fried Oreo. A batter-soaked, deep-fried, sugar-dusted Oreo. Because, you know, it wasn't indulgent enough to begin with.
Technically, there's nothing in this to justify anyone over the age of 30 enjoying them as much as I evidently am, but what can I do? Sticky, sweet, deep-fried goodness.
Shame on me, but I like that. Probably a little too much. But that's the thing in New York. There's always something you have to try. Every corner offers up something new. But since we were done with dog, I figured it was time for a burger, and not just any burger. See, right off Times Square, off the theatre district, sits an outpost of Danny Meyer's Shake Shack. The Shake Shack has been legend since it first upped shutters at Madison Square Park. The city's most famous restaurateur branches out into accessible fast food. Everyone wanted a bite of the action, and clearly still do. So what's the fuss all about? I suspect it's this. A humble burger, small even by most standards, but one that they have got so very, very right. The bun is soft and toasted, the toppings perfect, and the patty, well, that's delectable. It's sort of craggy-edged and crusty, which shouldn't be a good thing, except here it is. A smash-style patty that lifts it straight out of the stratosphere of standard issue street eats. But we knew that. Nice to be reminded though.
Since Shake Shack started, there has been a line for the fries and for the burger. What is it? It's a basic burger. It's not even as big as some I've seen somewhere else, and yet you can't stop eating it.
I think that what makes the burger so special is the great ingredients we use. We put so much care into making sure we've got the best ingredients to serve our guests that it's just so naturally delicious. And one of our cooking techniques is to have a caramelization on our burger before we finish it.
Of course, is a beef patty. Those less adventurous might want to look to the shroom burger, a vegetarian burger that is no pale substitute for the real thing. And this is where, as a carnivore, you suddenly find yourself torn, because both are truly equally good, and I don't say that lightly. This one uses a portobello mushroom that's crumb-fried crisp and stuffed with both Munster and cheddar cheeses, and it is officially the absolute everything.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, it's a toss-up. And I'm one of those who don't even consider a burger without meat a burger at all. And here I am torn between which one to finish at the same time. Well, I'm just going to have both.
It's a very big hit, and not only with our vegetarians, but it's unique. I've never seen anything like it, and it's just so much going on.
Yeah, but it's wonderful because it's actually, because the portobello lends it a sort of vegetarian meatiness, and then the cheese, and it's just...
Do not forget the crinkle cut fries, if for no other reason than they come smothered in cheese. And then, well, simply for purposes of comparing notes and not because I'm greedy or anything, I tried the Chicago dog. A Chicago dog with a difference. Look at that. It looks good. You know it looks good.
So if you've been paying attention to pretty much anything that's been happening or been written about the food scene in New York, there's very little I could add to what you already know about Shake Shack. To those of you who don't know, let me just say, come, sit, indulge.
Really, you won't regret it any more than you will sometimes spent with their intriguingly named concretes. Yes, concretes, and they sound good.
So a concrete is taking our custard and your desired toppings, and we blend them all together. And the idea behind it being called a concrete is it's such a dense custard that when you flip it upside down, nothing is going to fall out.
Custard, frozen extras, I'm in. To start then, Jelly's last donut with actual donuts, frozen custard and cinnamon sugar.
It's your Sunday morning breakfast in a cup.
It is like the Great White Way is the picnic, with marshmallows taking center stage. But even better, this.
This is chocolate custard, marshmallow sauce, peanut butter sauce, and chocolate covered pretzels.
Okay, that's not even decent, that's dangerous.
So creamy and custardy, and it's that wonderful, that puddingy, chocolate puddingy goodness. It's the taste of comfort.
And before I get too comfy myself, it might be time to get a move on. There's more ground to cover, you see, lots of it. This is a city, after all, that knows how to feed its people. I said that, didn't I? That it's all about diversity? I said that too. Forgive me, it's all set up. You see, if you head downtown, you can, well, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city or linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. I do love that song. You can also immerse yourself in little pockets devoted to different countries. You'll see, because I also have a guide to make sure I get it right. I am meeting Alana, who has made this corner of the city her stomping ground.
Now we are in historic Little Italy in New York City, and today we're going to be exploring Little Italy and Chinatown. We talk about their history, their culture, and of course the cuisine. And this is a neighborhood that is so much a part of New York life because really New York City, I believe, began with our immigrants coming here. So we saw from about 1880 to 1930 thousands of Southern Italians arriving to New York City. And they found this to be their home, the streets where we're standing today. And so they started to take each street and kind of bring the regions of Italy together and then bringing their food forward here.
Okay, awesome. So is that what we're trying today?
We're going to be visiting today family-run shops that have been in business over 100 years. That are still here in the neighborhood, serving the neighborhood.
So great, we start with serious history, tradition, and most critically, baked goods.
Okay, wow.
So here we are at Ferrara's Bakery and Cafe. It has been here since 1892.
Nice.
America's first espresso bar. It's the fifth generation family-run establishment. And as you can see, plenty to choose from.
But we have an ambitious morning ahead of us, so I am allowed just one offering. But in this city, arguably the only one I could have, the cannoli.
It comes from outside of Palermo in Sicily. Our version today is filled with ricotta cheese, a little bit of chocolate chips, a little bit of orange zest.
Leave the gun, I'll take the cannoli. If it's good enough for the Corleones, it's plenty good enough for me.
Supreme cannoli.
This is what Ferrara's is world famous for.
And it's basic and comforting also, you know. Yes. Fried dough, like a custardy creamy filling.
And happily after that, we don't have to move too far. The next stop is just across the street.
This is Aleva Dairy. They've been in business since 1892. They're considered America's oldest Italian cheese store.
You know, this is my kind of place. The lack of fuss, the best decorations in the world hanging from the rafters, the counters old school and tempting, and that wonderful funk that permeates the air, the kind that smells exceptionally well-cured meats and ripe cheese.
We're going to try today prosciutto and their mozzarella.
By now you may have noticed that this is very much an entry-level introduction to Italian, borderline kindergarten. But there is also a charm in going back to the basics and going back to them at one of the places where they became basics in the first place. That's confused, but you get me, right? The kind of place which smacks of Italy, old school Italy. Speaking of which...
Buon appetito.
Bon appetit indeed. That looks good.
It's a cured meat. It's been aged to perfection, 8 months or more.
We wrap, we roll, and we are good to go.
Cheers.
Cheers, here we go. The prosciutto is excellent. It's really good prosciutto. The mozzarella is beautiful.
We're grazing here because there's more. What's the rush? Well, there's something waiting just around the corner.
So, here we are at Di Polo's Fine Foods, and so it's a 4th generation family-run establishment.
Okay.
And this really represents all of Italy. You can find one product from all 20 regions of Italy, at least.
Well, there's enough going on inside that I believe it. Every kind of Italian condiment looks to be available here. This is exactly shelves to stand what a neighborhood store should be.
Right.
Almost 500,000 Southern Italians were living here.
Right.
And so you have the roots, and you have people, a lot of Americans have Italian, and they're Italian American, and
Right.
they're looking to where they're beginning. These shops really bring that back.
Nice.
You know, the famous director
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese, he grew up on Elizabeth Street. His family shopped in this very store.
Wow.
Well, I'm in excellent company, and perhaps he too ate some of what we are trying today.
Tasting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hi, Jessica. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
All right. So here we have almost like a mini antipasto.
I like antipasto. There's that lovely pepper-studded salami. There's some cheese. I recognize the pecorino, but the other one looks intriguing.
This is a piave, which is a cow's milk cheese, hard, firm, aged about 8 months.
There's a nice sharpness to it.
And Di Polo's was the first in the United States to bring over
Yep.
piave.
Tastes terrific too, but amongst the offerings, which may I remind you includes said salami and fine cheese, what actually wound up blowing me away were the olives. They were, hand on heart, absolutely fantastic. One in particular.
This is Castelvetrano. It comes from western Sicily. It's nice buttery olive. It's washed out in a lye.
That is awesome olive. My new favorite olive.
Alright then, more please, and whilst I indulge, we'll take a break. More as always on the other side.